Well, hello and welcome to Select Talk. My name is Latifa Hamid, and of course today in Select Talk we will be having a conversation with Margaret Blake Kigozi, commonly known as Maggie Kigozi, and that's how I refer to her, Dr. Maggie Kigozi. And we will be taking a journey into her life to finding out how does she manage to balance being in the spotlight and being a grandmother and being a mother and doing all these things at once. If it's not a superpower, what else is that? We will be finding out from her by starting to understand from her perspective who is Margaret Kigozi, where did the Blake family come from, where did the Black family come from, what is their heritage and who they are. Hello.
Hi Latifa, good to be here.
A pleasure to have you on the show, and I know you have a lot to share with us, the experience that you have accrued all this time to now when you're here sitting with us on STV. You know, we've been waiting for a very long time to have this conversation with you, and we thought we'd let everybody have her until at a time when she's settled, she's out of the public life, and then we'll have her.
Thank you.
So how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Well, if someone asked you, who is Margaret Blake Kigozi, what would your response be?
Oh, that is a difficult question, but I am a mother, I am a grandmother, I am a medical doctor, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a farmer, I'm a scout,
Look at that.
and I'm a feminist.
I told you, superhero. Those are superpowers. Too many things to do at a go.
I know, everything's interesting, everything I'm passionate about. So yes, I do as much as I can.
Okay. And you were formerly the executive director of Uganda Revenue Authority?
No, Uganda Investment Authority.
Investment Authority. So it's not Uganda Revenue Authority.
No, ours is to promote Uganda, to attract investors, both domestic and foreign. And once they're here, you help them to settle down, do business, and be profitable.
Okay. So with all the things that you did, because I want to start right from there, how did you manage to balance all of it, being a mother, being a grandmother, and then doing the work and being a farmer at the same time? How were you able to manage all that?
I guess women were made to multitask.
Okay.
From when you're born, the little girls are doing so much. You see the boys are focused, they do one thing at a time. The little girls are able to do so many things. So I think as women, most women, we're actually able to do many, many things at the same time.
Okay.
Yes.
And you definitely come from a very prominent family, the Black family. A lot of us know them.
Yes.
But hasn't that changed people's perspective of who you are? When you go to public offices, your journey through your success in life, has it ever been attributed to the family name? How did that affect your life in office?
That has been very helpful.
Okay.
Ugandans in general love sports. So my brothers, you know, motocross, autocross, and they were even in boxing and football, and the little ones, they're not so little anymore. Arthur Blake Jr., national champion 13 times. Yes, but even at my age, I was the national champion for lawn tennis.
Okay.
Yeah, I played table tennis, squash. I represented Uganda in 5 sports. So the sporting side of us has really contributed to the people we know. The media loves us. I think I'm largely here because of my sporting background.
Okay.
You may add all those other things, but I was here for sports before I was here for anything else. So that as well, and the networks, the people you meet, while doing sports are really the people that make things happen in the country. So yes, gives you great networks.
Definitely. So would you say that the success of your family, the name of your family helped you become the person you are today, the success that you have today? Did it have an attribute to say when you go to an office and say, I'm from the Black family, and they go, oh, we should give her a job. Did it help in that regard?
Because I didn't work here very long, and I'm a medical doctor,
Yes, you are.
so I never had to look for a job. At least in Uganda, jobs would look for me because you need doctors.
Yes.
Yeah, doctors, it's easy to get a job.
They don't find jobs find them.
The jobs find us. So as far as jobs are concerned, no, the Blake name did not really help me. by then I think I'd acquired my own name as Maggie Kigozi.
Yes.
Different.
Yes, Maggie Kigozi. We never had the
Kigozi.
black name on the Maggie Kigozi name. It was the short form of Margaret, that is Maggie Kigozi. And we had that a lot.
So that now had come to stand on its own, especially the 6 years I spent at Crown Beverages, Pepsi,
yes,
marketing Pepsi, promoting Pepsi. Then those same years I was at the Uganda Manufacturers Association. But most importantly, I think the one that got me known as Dr. Maggie Kigozi is the 12 years I spent at the Uganda Investment Authority.
Okay.
Everyone knew about me, knew what I was doing, so I was reporting regularly to the public in Uganda. So that I think that is what created the Maggie that you all know now.
Okay, let's go back to the sporting part of your family. And they're all bikers. We can see that the grandchildren are also joining the sporting event of being bikers.
Yes.
Did you get an interest in biking? Do you ride motorcycles?
Yes, I actually had very little choice coming from a family of bikers. And my mother loves motorcycle racing.
She does.
As did my father. She's passed, but yeah. So there was a lot of pressure to ride. I owned a bike from senior 5. I was in a day school to university, all the way through. I was riding. So whenever there were races, and if there were going to be women from even other countries,
yes,
I had to ride. So I was the women's champion in Uganda.
Okay.
We rode for Madame K. Amin on Women's Day at Nachivobo with another a large group of, not large, very few women used to ride. So
very
yes,
few women still
we
ride.
were 4, even now, there are very few. Safe Borders looking for women to ride safe, and they can't find them.
But how safe is it though for women to take on roles like riding a safe border into the night, and you know what is happening in Uganda right now, the insecurity. Yeah, right now I'm sure it's not safe, but coming back to you and your love for bikes, something that I wouldn't imagine by looking at you that you love bikes.
It was very, very safe. I particularly loved them because I could go wherever I wanted in the shortest possible time and the cheapest. You know, one tank lasts you a whole month. And you can go to Ginger, you can go wherever you want to go very, very quickly. So yes, it was a very useful form of transport for me. And at that time it was safe. There were no borders actually, none at all. And the traffic was very, very limited. So we were safe, yeah. So from riding the bike to school and to work, I also then was able to ride in competitions.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges that you faced, apart from, of course, you've had fun with your grandchildren and your children and a number of them, but what are some of the challenges that you faced raising your kids as a single mother? And what advice would you give to any woman out there who's in the same position as you?
Yes, I was married, very happily married, I must say, to my Daniel Kigozi. And he passed away when Navio, who was the youngest, was about 11. And I had the 2 older ones, 17 and 19. So then I had to raise my children from there on by myself. What challenges? Oh, many challenges. One of is the biggest challenge, and I'm glad I met it quite early, is you have to do it yourself. Don't expect anyone. When your husband has just died, everyone's going to help you, they are not. So recognize that very quickly to the women and take on the role of the breadwinner and the one who's going to pay the school fees all by yourself. You're going to do it. And where do you want your kids to be? How do you do that? So many changes. Yes. I had to move from my medical practice to business, where my husband was. He was running Pepsi Cola in Uganda, at that time Crown Bottlers. So I went, and I was lucky, and again, you're wanting advice to men and women. Have you written your will? Have you got a will?
Okay.
Because my husband was such an organized person, thank God. He had a will. And so he had decided on I could go and do his work in the company, and I did. And so that was really hard. That was a hard time.
How did you heal through it?
I guess my solution is always easy, work very hard.
Okay.
You're too busy to remember that you have problems. And that, I guess that has been my solution all this time, since then, that I keep myself busy, working on this or the other. Yeah. So yes, I worked very hard, and I continued working very hard to date, and was able to succeed. The company is doing well. We're expanding, growing. We have a new factory that we're putting up on Entebbe Road, a new branch. So that was doing well. But I've also moved on to other things. I work for government, as you know, and now I'm a farmer as well. Yeah, so we're doing okay.
What developed your love for farming?
I think Gayaza High School taught us to farm. We did biology, the agriculture biology, but we didn't love it. No, I don't think so. We all thought, and I think most Ugandans still do, that agriculture is for those people in the village.
Yes.
Those people who are not very educated go into farming. So that's what we thought. But when I was at the UIA, is when we recognized, agriculture, the potential of it, the ability to feed Ugandans, the ability to feed the world. Uganda has everything going for us. So then mindset change happened to me because of my job. And seeing what agriculturists were able to do. We visited flower farms, vegetable farms, Yuga Shake, for example, coffee. There's huge coffee farms, and it's fantastic people in the coffee industry, piggeries. So we saw all this when I was working, promoting the sector to investors in the Uganda Investment Authority, and I got hooked.
So what niche did you pick in agriculture?
Yes, I had. While I was too busy, and this is good advice for everyone, if you're too busy like I was at the UIA, I planted trees. Okay. So we had inherited pieces of land here from my dad, there from my mom, there from my father-in-law. So I planted trees. And now they are ready. They are ready. They actually make money, I can tell you that. Okay. So a few, just eucalyptus takes about 8 years, and then you sell it to those who are doing energy, the poles for electricity. But pine takes a little longer, so that is, I have that as well.
So eucalyptus is the way to go instead of pine, because pine takes longer.
Takes longer, but you get more money. Okay. Yes, so you can make those choices, depending. And if you want it very quickly, eucalyptus you can sell even at 2 years. Okay. And 4 years and 8 years, yes. But right now, what you were asking, what agriculture I'm doing, I'm in coffee. I also got sold, and the Katikiro says, and so I got sold on coffee.
And aside from that, we know that your heritage is also coffee. Your grandfather, you were telling me?
Both my grandfathers were in coffee, so yes, I'm in coffee too. But I'm also in chicken, layers, and I have mangoes, very nice mangoes, and bananas, matoke, plus foodstuffs around, yes. Okay.
Well, Uganda has the highest number of unemployment. In a number of places. And although agriculture comes as a solution, like you just said, we still see that there is unemployment. One, why do you think that is happening? And then what kind of solution do you think we can give to young people?
I think it's the mindset change that I had to undergo as well, in thinking that agriculture, you're dirty. Agriculture is, it's basically just planting a seed and growing something, and we saw that. But when you see it at the new level that it's at, the technology in agriculture, the seeds that actually give you matoke this size, you can get the right seed. Don't plant the one that your grandmother has been planting. Look for the proper seed, the new seeds that are available now. Look for what you need to know, knowledge. Agriculture is not just planting a seed. You need to know how, where, when, and then where is, what else do I need? Where are the drugs? You know, there's so much you need to know. And it's very, very interesting. It's very technical. So it is interesting. So to the young people, if you have access to land, you can grow something. Okay. But you don't need to have access to land. It's a whole value chain. So the one who has the land is actually growing the crop. And that one is where doing the right seed, the right fertilizer that is necessary. But before that, you need somebody who supplies pesticides, who supplies fertilizer, who supplies seed. You know, there are other bits, even before the one who has the land. So you can be that. Then after that, can you value add? Can you take my mangoes that I'm growing on my land and make juice, mango juice? Can you take my coffee and do instant coffee? So value addition. Actually, that's where government is focused. Right now, I hear they can even provide you with machinery, and you know, they can contribute towards.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's something for the youth out there to listen to.
To listen.
Well, aside from agriculture, do you see any other sector that the youth could jump into to try and deal with the unemployment issue?
Absolutely. Our youth are very highly educated, most of them. So the services is where Uganda does very well, where we have done well in information communication technology, and here, where STV is a success story of that. An investor who has come in and set it up using the technology that is available in the country. So the ICT is a big sector. There's teaching. It's huge. It's huge. And you need, as the youth, where's your part?
Yes.
Do you want to produce software? Are you in data? Do you want to do data processing? What is it? Are you creative? Film, television, radio. And we're doing very well as Uganda. You can see how many of those that we have in the country. And are you talented? Can you sing? Can you make a film? Can you an author? So all those, that's the creative industry. And it's also in the services, and we have huge opportunities there. But tourism, yes, COVID has not done that sector well at all. It has almost brought it to its knees, but it will survive because we have the products. As Uganda, we have the wild animals, we have the falls, we have the water sport, we've got it all. So the young people have now to get up and think what it is that you can do. What does a tourist coming from America, from the UK, what do they want to see when they come to Uganda? They actually want to eat our local food. They will eat the food in the hotels, but really they came here to find something new.
What is the Ugandan experience without the local food, right?
Exactly. They want to taste kalo, they want to taste muzigo muganda. People always quarrel about that, but yes, we call it muzigo muganda. Made in Ankole, but never mind. You know, they want to taste our local food, luombo and all that. So can you, as youth, think? Do you have a tourism product in your place? Is there a king who died there? Tourism is about stories. Find the stories, find the wild animals, and work your way around.
Find a way to tell it, the best way to tell the story.
Tell the story.
And speaking of telling stories, now that we've spoken about the problems, some issues that Uganda is facing, of course, we don't have time to go through all of them. I want to take us back into your journey, your life. What is the most cherished childhood memory that you have?
Ooh, my dad. I loved my dad to bits. I think that would be my most cherished memories as a child. I was very lucky to have a father, loving father, mother, tough mother, didn't stand nonsense, and also 4 great brothers. So really, I think in my youth I would appreciate my children, my family, my nuclear family. Schools, I think as a high school for me stood out. They taught me, first of all, to take studies seriously. Being sporting family, we thought we could get away with, just doing sports.
Yes.
But Gayaza made it clear, you do your work as well. And religion, brought religion as well to me. So Gayaza High School also stands out very strongly as something important to me in my youth that made me what I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And back to the cherished memories that you had with your dear husband before he passed away.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Where did I meet him? I think that's interesting. I had finished A-levels and got a little job as a receptionist at PepsiCo, at BT, British American Tobacco. At that time, we didn't think cigarettes were that bad. So I was at the reception, and he was the assistant chief engineer.
Okay.
So I just noted somebody walking past the reception, making so many calls, because I was on the telephone operation as well, making so many calls, and that led from one thing to the other.
And one thing to the other? How? You're jumping. You're coming from just phone calls to all the way to one thing led to another.
But
Take us through it.
Do you know who's listening? It's my children. It's my grandchildren. We don't talk about. I'm a Uganda. Some things we don't talk about.
And what happens when you have time with your what kind of stories do you tell them? Of course, I'm sure you tell them stories about where the black family came from, how your great-grandfathers migrated. Well, I will let you get away from the story of how you met your father, and now let's go to the story of how the black family came to Uganda.
Yes. Yes, we have an interesting background, obviously from my color. I can't be purely Ugandan. My grandfather on my father's side, they're both English. I have two grandfathers and they're both English. But on my father's side, that is Mr. Blake Penn. He came to Uganda as a white hunter. It appears you could get rich Europeans who wanted to hunt elephants and lions, and he was the expert. So he would bring them along and make sure they were able to shoot whatever they wanted to shoot.
With a license, just to
I'm a little guilty right now that this is in my past. But at that time, I think there were lots of animals, so it wasn't looked at very negatively. But when he arrived here, I mean, you arrive in Uganda, really, do you want to go back to winter and all kinds of, nasty things there instead of beautiful weather and beautiful people, friendly people welcome you. They give you a wife. He married my Jaja, Rebecca, and he stayed. He became a coffee farmer with a little bit of hunting as well in between, but he became a coffee farmer. And he had my father and his brother and 3 daughters. And my aunties, some of them are still around. From my mother's side, Captain George William Johnson came in the army, in the British Army, which was based here, looking after the Uganda Protectorate, I guess. So same thing happened to him. This is beautiful Uganda. He married my Jaja Rosa, beautiful young lady, and he became a coffee farmer too, but also he was in cattle, and he also was looking after roads and such things. So he was very rich actually, and owned a lot of land in Masaka. My other grandfather settled in Gomba. So when they were, how did my then parents get together from Gomba and from Masaka? Yes, my father went to Budo. While he was at Budo, he met my mother's brothers. She had 2 brothers. One became very famous as George Johnson Chiwajo. He was a newsreader and a great footballer. He was a footballer.
Sports has been
always. So they brought him to because my father's father died very early. They were very poor. They were being actually supported by a teacher at Budo. She kept them through school. Mrs. Payne, we are eternally grateful for that. So he came to Masaka with the boys and met their sister. but she was still very young. She was going to school, and so it took some time, but yeah, he then met my mother, and they got married. And Masaka became our place. We come
so
from
that's
Masaka.
home.
Yeah, that's home. Yeah.
And sometimes you go, Easter is coming. Where are you going to celebrate Easter from? Going to Masaka?
Unfortunately, COVID has come. Otherwise, normally my brother has a farm in Mukono, Vata. So we normally go there. All of us, and the family is now huge.
The Easter spirit.
Yeah, at least 100 people. There's the Blix in Ginger. There, so it's huge. So we normally go there, but with COVID, we don't support big groups. So yes, we shall make it smaller, nuclear family gatherings. Yes, to be safe from COVID right now.
Well, I'm sure right now people who are watching us can tell where exactly you come from, where is your heritage, how did you get the skin color, just like you started with the introduction. Thank you very much for being with us throughout the journey of Maggie Kigozi. We'll take a short break and then come back and continue with her story on exactly how Uganda Investment Authority went, the milestones she took, and if she had to do it all over again, what would she change?